Test, test, 1, 2. Hey guys, how you guys doing? Well, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing well. We're going to get into some stuff. We're going to cover some important things today. Welcome to the Weekly Whale Watch. This is every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We do this once a week, hell or high water. With that being said, I will be out next week, so take a little bit of that back. But remember, we're here for the art stream. That's what this is all about. This is not financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. But we're going to get into some things today. Some very, very, very crazy stuff we saw today in the market. Stuff we have not seen in quite a while. Seeing some actual paint, some colors. I haven't seen in a very long time across the board. So it is what it is. What's up, DK? Will Cybonic. The Pam file. Let's go. Jared. What's up, Trader TX? Yeah, we're going to cover a lot of stuff. And for any reason you're wondering why on earth my charts aren't just red and green, it's Rainbow Trends, rainbowtrends.com. All the stuff here you can find out why on earth it looks this way. And whoa, I'm zooming in way too much. But regardless, check us out if you're curious at any point. And that explains half the story of why our stuff looks like that. What? With exciting news. If you've seen the Coinbase announcements, Coinbase has been really on point. And they launched Dude and Rainbow today. So, full disclaimer, this has nothing to do with Rainbow Trends, but market's going absolutely to hell and back, and I'm getting sports notifications on Coinbase, as well as apparently they're launching something called Rainbow, which maybe it's the coolest thing ever. I don't know. Sounds fun. But anyway, while you guys are really here, we're going to cover some alpha. We're going to go over the charts. We're going to look at potential bottoms. Isn't market over? Is the 4-year cycle dead? Haters said it. This 4-year cycle's dead, but maybe not. But the important thing we're going to do today, we're going to talk about the top 5 things you guys need to do to ace your interview when you guys apply to McDonald's. So jobs.mchire.com. We looked at the McDonald's charts last week. Looked bullish. Crypto didn't look so bullish, but McDonald's did. But you can find a job near you with this online jobs.mchire app. So apply. We're looking at some things they have here in New York City. So our New York bros who are losing your bored apes and everything else, you guys, we got a lot of jobs here, something for you. But in all reality, let's look at the chart, because if you're gonna get free Egg McMuffins, let's take a look at the chart. So in all reality, McDonald's is looking pretty good, and we're gonna have to cut back on the markets to save some cash. So maybe the dollar menu is in our future. Maybe working there and getting some food for free is in our future as well. Needless to say, this is actually looking like the Rivian chart. Every time the daily on the top Runderbot hits, it is a macro top. So that's kind of interesting on that one. But anyway, thanks for all that you guys are here. And as a reminder, we do this for free. So any comments, likes, retweets, all that stuff goes a long way. These algos look at how these people respond to this stuff and actually tracks all of it. But in all seriousness, we're looking at McDonald's, and we have to remember McDonald's is actually dunking on us as well. So January 24th, 2022. I don't remember, but how are you guys doing, people who run crypto Twitter accounts? It's great. Michael Saylor, yeah, we're going to like that one. 2022, Saylor clapping back. But remember, Saylor actually worked at McDonald's. This is a real photo. That's Michael Saylor before. I say, you remember, if you guys have been watching the Lord of the Rings stuff as of late, you remember there's Gandalf the Grey, then there's Gandalf the White. I always call that's basically our Sailor the Grey before he turned into Sailor the White. Mr. Mike right there as well. But in all seriousness, MicroStrategies is underwater, and they actually, on this day of capitulation, they actually had earnings after hours, and I haven't got to listen to it yet, but I'm sure it was fantastic. But man, back in the cycle past, people always talked about MicroStrategies, and they were like, "Yo, is what happens when Sailor blows up or the price touches his DCA, everything goes crazy." I don't think you can liquidate Sailor, but it's maybe they've touched his DCA in the past, but they've never really held below it. They're holding below it now. Right now, his average is his average is $76,000 per Bitcoin. Last I checked, we're at 65K. So it's going to get really, really interesting. Frankly, I've been watching the MicroStrategies chart for a while and kind of watching it like a hawk. Why? It's bleeding like Tesla did quite a few months ago when we caught the bottom on Tesla. Now, are we at a bottom? No. This is one of those things where you have to watch it bleed, and you have to watch it bleed for a very long time before it actually bounces. We've got a Tesla stuff later on. We'll check it towards the end of the stream, but in general, this type of stuff, you have to wait till we get something bullish to wake it up. When I say bullish, we're looking for bulls, not bears. There's nothing here yet. Nothing big has come in yet on the price books. So, or see the price books, the order books. You can see obviously big buys and sells into stuff like that craziness, but like we're bleeding, we're bouncing and stuff. So you are flirting with low time frame chop bounces and stuff like that. But in general, we're looking for the macro reversal if there is going to be one, right? These, I'd like to think that MicroStrategies can't go under, but to be honest, I can't even keep up with their levels of pyramids at this point with all the different products they're offering and leveraging onto each other stuff. And now they're running Twitter ads like crazy for Twitter people to go buy their stuff. So I don't know. That being said, there is a double pivot here at $100. But dudes, this is bad. Hopefully there's a reaction here. The truth be told, if you really want Bitcoin to bottom, this needs to bottom too. This dude owns how much of the Bitcoin now? I forgot. Let me know in the chat. But either way, he can go much lower. Remember, this isn't log. If you put this on regular, it's pretty crazy. Eek. Anyway, not a good look. At the end of the day, you do want MicroStrategies to kind of go up at times. It tends to correlate somewhat with Bitcoin. But this has been pure pain for a while. So anyway, moving on. This is the Q4 results, which is an interesting way to put it. So Michael Saylor Strategy announced Q4 2025. 713,000 Bitcoin held, 22.8% BTC yields. Largest U.S. equity issuer raised $25 billion. STRC scaled. Okay. Anyway, that is the one they were actually showing on Twitter ads today, which was kind of a bit scary. But either way, an interesting way to talk about your Q4 results and not really focus on anything related to your current average. So I've been busy. 3D printer broke down. Had to fix that for the kids. Been busy at work. Doing my McDonald's job and engineering job as well. I got 3 jobs now, so keeping the times alive. But I do want to go back and listen to this call. I haven't got to listen to it, so I apologize. Wish we could have caught it live on stream. But anyway, moving on. So yeah, there it is. I guess it's over. So there we go. There is I'll drop the link in the chat. That's the link for the live one. So actually, we'll go back and listen to that. We don't have time right now because I'm sure they talked for an hour about hodling. Anyway, yeah, so Udi had a pretty cool, not a pretty cool, but had an interesting thing. Because the real risk isn't Saylor selling Bitcoin. It's impossible for him to sell. You don't sell a 3.5 position, and definitely not publicly. It's science fiction. His BTC is as good as burnt. The risk is that he stops buying. So it's going to get interesting. He started buying less, which has been interesting, but either way, we'll come back to it. But MicroStrategies, long story short, it's bleeding really, 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 really bad. It's going to bait the bulls, but it's just a matter of, are they going to show up? I don't know. So we'll see. But one of the other things today, you guys are going to realize this is a cascading liquidation. It hasn't really tumbled, but the levels are rough, real rough. So, a lot of things are getting squeezed and a lot of stuff's waking up on chain. So this is an interesting one. Is Trend Research just deposited 8,000 ETH to Binance to sell and avoid liquidation. In total, Trend Research has sent 203,000 ETH to Binance at $2,252 and still holds 460,000 ETH. Damn. Total losses now are over 855 million. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. On top of that, Vitalik keeps selling ETH, and today he kind of, or today, I think it was yesterday, but long story short, this week he started talking about how like the L2 roadmap doesn't make any sense anymore. So the head of product at Ethereum is struggling. Needless to say, with that type of PR, he's got to work on that and maybe sell this a little better. But the fact that he's just dumping ETH over and over and over, it just royally sucks. Either way, all I'm saying, if I was behind Rainbow Coin, you wouldn't see me selling it like that nonstop and talking trash about it. I'd be selling it and then talking positively about it, right? Either way, we're talking about underwater positions. Tom Lee's portfolio is now down below $8 billion. $8 billion. Total invested $16 billion, unrealized profits negative $8 billion. This dude's been on Fox News talking about ETH to 20K, so it's been fun. But let's take a look at the actual Ethereum chart. It just looks fantastic. So I should probably have gone into the Bitcoin chart before this one, but either way, you're looking at levels that should force the bulls to spike this. Are they going to fully revert it? I don't know. Is it going to be just a short time bounce before we go into the 4-year bear cycle? Remains to be seen, right? But the thing is they're pushing deep into these bands right now. Eventually something's going to wake up. The sellers will exhaust and the buyers will come back. Now, a lot of people were selling today to avoid liquidations and stuff like that. So there's that. Maybe the stuff needs to resolve. But in general, you can't hang in this forever, especially at these speeds. You can see in the past, even when the markets were just god-awful, we never stayed in these bands with like white candles. So I'm looking currently in the 4-year cycle stuff, but it's looking like we should get something. Now, mind you, this is what we want to be careful of, right? This is a long-term. This is, what, 2021 all the way to 2022. This is a 2-year bear market downward trend from, like, 49 all the way down to $1,000. We can rock this, but in general, when you push really, really hard, you tend to get a pop. And if they push hard enough, you'll get a bottom. Now, the timing for a bottom is really weird here, but we could get a relief rally, needless to say. So you want to play with fire, you're getting white candles at a big discount here in the reversion bands. We're looking like we're going to start seeing something, hopefully. But in general, we really haven't had much buying until just probably a few hours ago. We actually started seeing some bullish whale prints, especially on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the main one I've been watching on. But shout out Bold. Shout out Bold. I love this. I can go lower. If you guys don't know what a reference is, if you don't know who Bold is, Bold Leonidas, amazing comic, just got over 100,000 subscribers. Dude's fantastic. It's hilarious, great artist. But he's referencing the old It's Sunny in Philadelphia scene where, what's his name? Is it Dennis? Dennis gets some like short shorts and addresses the crowd that he can go lower. So it's fun. It's fun. Needless to say. But moving on. The other thing. We got a lot of stuff going out, right? We had Amazon had some blowouts. We had MicroStrategy going to earnings today. The other thing, we've had major metals reprice. I don't know how to say it. Silver has been bad, real bad. This is crazy. I remember I was talking to Dime way back in the day. I was like, yo, that's the first pink candle we've seen in silver in, what, 2 decades? I don't know how many decades, how many years. This is huge. And then it went from $80, it was like $78 was that candle, and it went all the way up to $120. And today it hit $64. So, mind you, this is the second biggest market cap in the world. Well, it was earlier this week. It was right behind gold. Maybe Nvidia flipped it, but we literally watched the gold parabolic run of all-time high, and it made it all the way up till January 29th, and it is now pulled back 48%. I don't know what to make of this. Silver used to be something that we would never see colors on, ever. Boring, boring, boring. Never touched the bands. Never touched the bands. I'm scrolling through here. You barely see any blues. Occasionally a purple. Like, this was some of the most violent stuff we saw back in the day, and that was in 2020. So, 5 years ago. Yeah, so COVID bottom, $11, bounce, da-da-da-da, right? I mean, that's the COVID crash. Like, that's not as bad as what we're seeing right now. So, is this just leverage to the tits? I don't know. It's really weird, though. It's trading like a shit coin, and it's the second biggest market cap thing in the world, something that humans have been mining and going after for thousands of years. This is gnarly. Is it a reset? I'd like to think so, because hey, I mean, white candles in these bands on silver, you should get a bounce, but truth be told, if this is a full parabolic run, dude, this is weird. I mean, tell me what your think on this, because the last thing I think of is volatility on silver. You tend to think silver is kind of chill and easy to work with and kind of safe, right? But man, this is big. Clear decline in volume too, and also there's tons of leverage and options on this as well. But in general, remember, not that long ago we had physical lines wrapping around like Costco's and gold pawn shop, stuff like that, trying to get into this. Is pretty crazy. What's up, Ask? Yeah, so actual shiny metal. The crazy thing is, though, is like gold's having issues too. Not as violently. Silver definitely went more parabolic, and China had some more news-related things to put kind of a squeeze on silver. I'm not going to speak to that too specifically, but gold's pulling back as well. So it's an interesting week. A lot of quarterly results coming in. I say quarterly results. A lot of earnings coming in. It's been nuts, needless to say. But to base this on reality, what are we doing here, right? We have to start figuring out where are some footprints of where we can find like actual bases, because it looks like we're just front running an entire bear market cycle right now on crypto. So POC since late 2020 has been 57K. Dudes, I think we hit that today. So shout out Altcoin Sherp. Always really like that guy. Checking on Arthur Hayes. Mommy, I'm scared. He's not posting pictures of him on a mountain. And here we go. Bitcoin. This is been our amazing chart. This was the chart we got right before. Oh man, way back in the day, the yin carry trade. We got the breakout. We got the inauguration of the first crypto president. We made a run all the way up to $126,000, and we are back at like these ancient levels that we were trading on this old chart. We went right through all of this. It's been real shitty. I transposed my window dates from the old BLX chart because it doesn't update anymore, but it was the ones we had with the different windows of the timings of like the past cycles versus the all-time highs, the all-time lows, as where is the happening. And look at that. There's our window. That's the amazing, amazing window of where we had the projection of the 4-year cycle. And lo and behold, let me fix this real quick. Extend. Where's the... I don't want to... Oh, yeah. No extend right. And then I want to switch that to green. So that's how I had it kind of drawn on the old one. So that's kind of the 4-year cycle window we were looking at. So worst price was only 84,000 all the way up to 126, which is crazy because that's still a huge pullback from top to bottom inside that window. Like 33%. But so far, price has just fallen off of a cliff, and we're getting absolute murdered on the RSI. Speaking of that, I posted this earlier today, and I meant to show this in the chart, but guys, I've been rushed. Let me pull up this, because I don't have the chart here, but I have it on my X account. And you can see it here. So today was roughly second or third worst RSI print of all time for Bitcoin on the daily. When you look at the daily, when you look at historical RSI prints, I really like the daily. So I've been fiddling with the tool that projects RSI levels. So the worst RSI level of like all time was roughly around 9.8. So we'll just call it 10. So I've got a tool that projects that I've been playing with kind of as a beta, just projecting RSI levels. If we projected where that actual RSI would print a 10, it's currently at like $44,000. Now the daily just closed, so stuff's going to reset. But a few hours ago, it was roughly $45,000, $44,000. So if we want to have as a lot of people were talking about RSI, and it's one of the greatest indicators of all time. But if we were talking about actual RSI prints to make the worst RSI of all time, you're talking about right here. Damn, that's far. 44. So I'd hope to God we can't touch this right now. But that's roughly what the worst RSI print of all time would look like. So RSI is going crazy. You notice we're on purples here. We're not on pinks yet, but essentially we're looking for where can these things happen? Where can these things bottom? Because we like traditional rainbow theory with the 4-year cycles, etc. We're past the window, right, of where the peaks should happen. If the 4-year cycle keeps hitting, we're now on the backside, and we have to deal with that. But the truth is, this is a deep cut. So what's been really uncomfortable is I have not seen anything really show up to bite back. Looking at the split volume here, we're starting to finally get some cyan candles finally after this bleed. This recent downtrend since the start of the well prints, it's like 32%. Now, one of the things I noticed today is typically when you have this type of alt or this type of action on Bitcoin, we would normally see like 30 to 50% drawdowns on a lot of the alts. And to be honest, it's not something we saw. We saw some drawdowns for sure. We saw some big drawdowns, but we didn't like. I think one of the worst ones I saw was like XRP on the daily, and I think it was like 25. It wasn't. I mean, mind you, I've seen Coinbase charts where the entire screen is red on every coin listing, and it's all of them are over 30% drawback, and that's drawdown. That's not what we're seeing. So it was kind of weird. Normally, Bitcoin will drop like 10%, everything else will drop like 30, relatively speaking, but it's not what we're seeing here. So on the H4, we actually have pink RSI, and it's starting to rotate. If you go down to like the hourly, it's looking like maybe that wick may have woke them up. You can see the volume here. We finally got like a bullish buy reaction on this one. Finally. It was getting real weird, dudes. Like, it was just sell, and I didn't see any bulls show up. I was like, dude, this is not cool. This is not good. But truth be told, you know, do you panic sell this deep into the bands? I don't have a good answer for you. It should bounce. It should bounce. Now, I'm not saying it's going to recover and go to 160K, but I'm saying is the bears have pushed this so hard and so violently today. They liquidated a lot of people. They hurt a lot of businesses. That's their goal. We got pink RSIs. Something should give. But we'll see. Yeah, Cybonic. How's the 4-year cycle going? As predicted, right? Oh yeah, I forgot to show you this. So let me put you on standby. Let me pull this up real quick. Cause we don't know who's watching. So I gotta hide some of the alpha. Alright, so let me pull like everything off the chart for the most part. The main thing is we want to get the red bands off. Alright, so let me go to a cleaner chart. Let me go to Kraken. Shout out Jesse. So go to the daily. Let me get rid of the volume. So this was the last bear market. This was the last peaks, right? 1, 2. The second line up is the 0.6 standard deviation. So this was the bottom blowing out. This was like FTX. Like, we were printing definitely the bottom here, and then FTX hit unexpectedly, and I think that printed lower than what we should have seen across the board. But in general, 0.6, 0.8, it tends to bounce and wake up. Tends to. Now, if we're in the big drawdown bear market, buckle up, it's going to suck. But in general, the 0.6, this area is typically, you can wake up a macro bottom. That's all I'm saying. So we're looking at the Mayer multiple. We're looking at that. We're actually hitting like the 0.6 violently and quickly. So if you want to have like some hopium, right? Can we tag like the 0.6 and then get some type of recovery? Not an all-time high, but maybe get something out of it. I don't know. I'd like to think we're not going to go down to the 0.5s right now, but needless to say, RSI is loading up. Pullback reversion bands are loading up. Buys are starting to come in. Keep mind of where you are on the 4-year cycle. It's always going to be a thing. I've always said that. But the let me pull up the stock to flow model. This is one thing I wanted to show you guys because we've covered this a lot. They switch the websites around from time. Yeah, this is the one. So TV stream, there you go. So stock to flow, here you go. Let me zoom in so it looks better. So in general, we're now in like the kind of the getting into this yellowish green area, right? Which is usually the backside, right? We're past the orange. We got into the yellows. Now we're peaking past that. So 4-year cycle be damned. There we are. Mind you, we're way below the stock to flow 463 thing. Way below the predicted price. So people always give crap for the stock to flow. I usually say ignore that line, but man, we are hella gapping below it. So either way, stock to flow numbers were somewhere on the backside there. Right? Maybe we get a really nice relief rally. Maybe Jerome leaves in May. The Fed cuts prices and everything goes all-time freaking highs. We shall see. Now, moving on. McKenna saying, it may be the worst sentiment I've seen since FTX. Kobe piping in some ways worse, to be honest. More like 2015. To be frank, this would be be a great time to Kobe to fire up one of those up-only podcasts. Just saying. So, working on that. Would love to see that podcast come out sometime, but we'll see. Now, tech earnings, amazing. Amazon stock has fallen 10% after reporting Q4 2025 earnings. It's now down 15% on the daily. So let me turn on alts logarithmic. There you go. So a quick little tutorial here. Actually, let me show you this real quick. So quick little tutorial here on your charts. So when the charts look really, really bad, right? Awful. You touch the chart on TradingView and you type Alt-I. There you go. We're back. We're bullish. Alt-I invert your chart. So you can sit there and do this. We can try to get the stream to lag out and chop up and drop frames. But yeah, Alt-I, you can fix everything. So pretty cool little shortcut. There's actually a ton of like TradingView shortcuts if you look them up. So go take a look. But this is the other thing I wanted to show you. Earnings were just reported. These E's on the bottom of TradingView, Crypto 101, TradingView 101 dudes. That's your earnings, and you can click these and you can see. So they were down on 1% on earnings. Revenue was beat expectations by 1%, but a lot of the forward forecasting is it's always the forward guidance is what this stuff reacts to, especially with how fast AI bots can read it. Now, that previous chart says, hey, Amazon dropped 10%. Runner, why isn't the chart dropping 10%? So, on the bottom, which you can't see here because it's covered by the chat screen. Amazing stuff. Let me walk that out. There you go. All right. So, down here, you see the RTI. It says regular trading hours. You click that, switch it to extendo. Bam. There's your extended trading hours. You can actually see what happened after the markets technically closed and saw the earnings. Big candle on Amazon. It doesn't show it on the daily. That's interesting. Extended doesn't work on the daily. Does it work on the 24-hour? It does. Okay. Well, that's not. Okay. Well, daily doesn't work in extended, but 24 hours does, which may or may not be the same thing. You heard it here first, folks. But anyway, you can see that. That's a hell of a candle. You don't get that very often on Amazon. And needless to say, I've been doing my part to help out Amazon, because the amount of 3D printer stuff I've been buying off them to keep the kids happy has been insane. But as a reminder, thank you for showing up. Thank you for chatting with us. Thank you for hanging out with us on X and YouTube. Nikita Bier, head of product at X. How are you doing today? It looks like the frames are working, and we got a few chats on X. It says there's like 180 people have seen the stream on X, but I've got a feeling there's probably like 5 guys on Twitter. There's like 17 in YouTube. So pretty good numbers, especially for the price action. So if the price keeps going lower, we may get up to 30 live viewers. That'll be cool. Anyway, moving on. That's kind of a little thing you can do, the alt-I and then the regular trading hours versus your extended. The thing to note, guys, if you are indicator junkies, RTH and extended trading hours and regular trading hours change data. How do they change data? The prints are different. Markets could open tomorrow and Amazon open back up at like 220. So if you've got something that's sensitive to lows and highs and stuff like that, your lows for the regular trading hours are going to be way different, right? That drop in there, your EMAs aren't going to react to it. Just keep that in mind. Some people will switch their stuff and not realize it's been switched, and it just kind of has issues with it. So anyway, moving on. Teach you guys what we can. What's up, Caleb? So let's check out on Coinbase. Let's see how Brian Armstrong's doing. Surely they've had the meeting with the White House this week. They've resolved their terms. They're happy with the banks. We have some stuff going. I don't know. Actually, that was this week, wasn't it? I haven't heard a single news about that. Why? Probably because other things have been happening. But let's check. So Brian Armstrong, mind you, price is just dying right now across the board. Crypto's dead, right? I'm getting notifications from Coinbase about how to do sports betting. So shout out Coinbase. We've completely given up on crypto and we're moving over to sports bets. Which leads us into our sponsor, Ether Delta. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, just great. So true. So here we go. It never is as good as it seems, and it is never as bad as it seems. True. Corollary. There are opportunities in every market. And right now, there are some great ones. Super Bowl's coming up, and I guess it's time to bet on Coinbase. So, if you thought MicroStrategies was having a bad day, oh boys, man. Now, to be honest, sometimes I look at Coinbase and I'm like, does it look bottomy? Because that may give me an inclination on Bitcoin. Earnings are in a week. So, don't have that yet. But regardless, typically, reversion band wise, tell your friends, Coinbase normally can't touch that deep into the bands. And we are going deep right now. So, let me see. We're below that number. So, I'm looking for the previous time we've ever touched these bands. Whoop. Hold on. There we go. Quick shortcut on Rainbow Trends, as well as any tool on TradingView, you can drag tools and move them to stuff, right? So I accidentally moved reversion bands down here, which that's not reacting to volume, is it? Because that would be cool. No, it's not. Okay. So if you accidentally mess up your chart like that, Control-Z works. Boop. So it brings it back. So, right? So, anyway. That's going to totally help you fix your charts and become a profitable trader. Trust me. So May of 2022 was the last time we punched through that. And we actually hit, like, we made orange bands and we caused machine learning, which was bad. Remind me, guys, what was the price of Bitcoin in May 2022? Let me pull it up on the other screen. Let me double check. So May of 2022... so that was the FTX. That was the bottom fallout right before FTX. So that was the last crypto bear market. So, well, right on time. Maybe we go to $97, call it a day. Bob's your uncle. Another $100 or another $50 down. I don't know. Needless to say, you're running out of support here. Let me turn on extended trading hours. Nothing really different. You notice the pivot's changed on that. So just a side note, that algo is responsive to that. But we do have some pivots here. Lights out if we're below 140. See it 115. Maybe they'll figure some stuff out. Let's check it out on my favorite Coinbase employee. Jesse Polak. How you doing, bud? So let's see what Polak's up to. Base is the on-chain home for AI agents. So we're chasing the Claude bots, I guess, which are now Lobster bots, or I can't keep up anymore with the IP. All I know is the lawyers are getting fed really well tonight. So moving on. Let's check on some sanity. So we checked Jesse Polak. That's my favorite guy at Coinbase. We're gonna check out at Carpe Noctem. That's my favorite guy at Canary Capital. He's saying IBIT is already approaching bear flag target zone ahead of schedule. So he's looking at the 1.168 there on as far as your bear flag target zone. IBIT, same story. Ugly. We'll see. Now, mind you, this is ETF chart. There's not a lot of data here yet, just since 2024. We were so young. But I hope we get a bounce. Have the numbers started coming in for the ETF flows? Trader Tech says 20K. Yeah, May 2020. You're right, bud. ETF flows, Bitcoin. Now, mind you, we're here. We're here for the vibes. We're here to get you through how to get your resume to the top of the pile at McDonald's with these top 5 tips we're going to share at the end. So like, comment, subscribe. Call BitBoy. Tell him what's up. IBIT's not in. Fidelity's out with negative 100. So this is what we got so far. So I can just put it in. That's the data so far. So not terrible. But IBIT was may or may not have been sending a lot of stuff to Coinbase to potentially sell, right? That's what IBIT does when they send Bitcoin to Coinbase. It's not to leverage up. It's not how ETFs work, runner. Nah, we'll see. I would love to see a bounce, even if hear me out. Are we gonna go all time high? Odds timing wise aren't in our favor. Could we get a hell of a relief bounce and get you guys maybe into something nice? Maybe. We'll see. That's my hope. Anyway, but when in doubt, Michael Saylor, February 5th, 2026, HODL. I need to go back and watch the, I need to go listen to the call and see if he actually mentions the word HODL. It'd be interesting. The dude's the king of DCA. Now, some comic relief for you guys, because we're talking bear things. If you guys go watch the movie. So apparently this $200 million bank is backed by Parmesan cheese and is lending people money for cheese in northern Italy. And then, it's not The Big Short. What's that movie? I think the movie's called Margin Call, and he argues that we sell stocks to willing buyers at the fair market price, and then someone redid this Italian style. We sell the Parmesan to willing buyers at the fair market price. So yeah, maybe Tether's gonna get some cheese exposure. Might as well. They're buying crypto and they're buying gold as well. Oh man, can you imagine seeing one of these warehouses with this much cheese? Be amazing. You'll see these in grocery stores in America for my European buddies, but they'll be one, not anything like this. Anyway, I like cheese. That cheese is cool. Damn, how much milk that is. Hold on, let me kill the audio so we don't get a copyright strike on cheese manufacturing. Maybe we need to change the stream over to how it's made. Where do you even get a tool like that? It's like a freaking giant-sized whisk. It's amazing. Either way. How you start with that and end up with Parmesan instead of mozzarella? I don't know. Either way, cool stuff. So, other thing. Our boy Michael Burry, who's called the top on tons of stuff, occasionally gets it right, occasionally nails it out of the park, occasionally doesn't. So, apparently Palantir is down 33%. Dudes. This was the stock that never did anything other than up. So since 2022, government contract, our buddy at TrendSpider CEO, been long as hell on this, made a lot of money, and it's just been up only. But what's crazy, guys, is the way this looks with the logarithmic. This doesn't even look that gnarly, but if you put it on regular, let me show you this, because like if you put this on logarithmic, which is amazing, it looks like that's just a small pullback, right? That's actually 207 down to 130. Like, that's a 40% pullback. It's pretty impressive. Now, is it just going to V-bounce here? I don't know. To be honest, that was one of the things Dan was talking about today from TrendSpider. Shout out, Dan. We're overdue for a meeting. Please release the Greek dev that I need. I need him back on our team. We could do some Rainbow Trends stuff in what's it called? JavaScript. Now, this is the one thing I've also been watching intently. S&P, we got this great tariff trade, right? Amazing entry here, and it's been up only. We barely hit like 7,000, and then it's pulled back. The one thing that's been interesting of late is it looks like it was channel walking, and it looks like it was pulling out. So I'm on the wrong layout here. I don't have my old annotations. Let me just draw them real quick. But essentially, it was like a channel walk with a channel walk shift. I've covered channel walks for so long. It's Rainbow Theory 201, not 101. But it looked like we reclaimed the channel walk, but that's now shifting out. So this is not a good look. In general, when you have channel walks like this, they tend to bleed slowly than like a BART, but they tend to bleed really, really bad. So this is not super, super encouraging. Maybe Bitcoin and crypto's front running all this. Maybe silver's front running all this. Up and down, right? But in general, when stocks are like this, you think people be running back to the shiny metals. So it's kind of a weird inverse correlation. But regardless, you guys know what's happening in May, right? We've talked about it forever. Our boy Jerome's leaving in May. We're getting close to this date. So regardless of what you say, rate cuts or rate increases are coming. Knowing Trump, knowing the current administration, I bet there's going to be someone in there who's going to be more inclined to rate cut than rate increase. And then we get to have the giant question. Do rate cuts always make number go up? I don't have the answer for you. Tune in next week. What comes next may shock you. I'll be on vacation and we won't have a stream. But what comes in May is going to be really, really critical. As scary as this looks, like, oh my God, it looks like it's rolling over, right? Zoom the F out. We've been up only, printing all-time highs over and over and over. Yeah, we had a really, really gnarly tariff pullback. It was temporary. We bought the bounce, and it's been up. I think my 401k is up over 30% since that wave of entries in there. We're still doing all-time high stuff. Like, we're still doing bullish things, but it looks like it's slowing. So we do have to be like kind of chill with it and see. All I know is that date right there on the calendar, sometime in May. I lost my date here because I'm on the wrong layout. I don't want to mess it all up live, but even though it's already messed up. But Jerome's going to be out, and you're likely going to see someone do massive rate cuts and make the money printer go burr. Now, in theory, that should go up, but what if the counteract happens? It's going to catch a lot of people upside, and I don't want the Rainbow Trend Theory people getting destroyed on that. So go into this cautiously, knowing that somebody's going to come in and they're going to do an FOMC like you've never seen before, and we're going to see Jerome walk out. So shout out Jerome. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys on the flippity flip side later, right? Anyway, NVIDIA rolling over as well. NVIDIA has delayed some of their gaming stuff. They really are focusing more on the AI, and they're trying to figure out how to do gaming video cards without memory chips. Some of the stuff is actually coming out that they're just delaying some of the stuff like production because they cannot get chips. So as is tradition, your GDDR7 stuff is getting squeezed like crazy, and you got to be careful. There's your Amazon chart. We covered that earlier, but let's check Gentel. Gentel saying, bros, how we doing? Surely our king is talking Rivian, right? Surely nothing else. As is tradition, a daily top was printed on the runner bot on Rivian, and we have proceeded to fall off the face of the earth. I'm currently not long Rivian, but it is whew, it's down 40% in not that long. From the runner bot top, that would roughly be like 28%, 29. Oof. Now I'm interested. We're touching the rev bands. We're printing colors. Now I'm interested in getting long again. Now, originally there was we tracked it for a really long time, but it was essentially like a giant wedge, right? And it started breaking and walking up. That's a hell of a reset if that's the reset, and you can get a bounce potentially. So watch that one closely. Rivian, I may be back. On the H4, let me turn off the chart. Actual white candles printing. Gentile, where are we at? That's actually interesting. Maybe I need to order the international, it's not Harvester, the international Scout that they're going to build. Allegedly. It's not a Rivian technically, right, Volkswagen? It's totally a Rivian. They just don't want to admit it. All right, Tesla. Tesla not looking so good. We wanted to see them break through this bad boy, but guess what? King Papa Pivot at the top did not get broken again. These things are so hard to get through, needless to say. Now there is a triple daily pivot here that's going to get some reaction, so maybe crypto bottom blows out the bottom, and that's Rivian bottoms out, SPX bottom. Maybe tomorrow is just the opposite of a black swan. We shall see. Not that the S&P did a black swan today, but crypto definitely had some cascading liquidations. But let me check some stuff I wanted to show you guys too, since we're looking at the electric cars, right? So, ExxonMobil. Is it Exxon? Yeah. So, ExxonMobil is the one that got the biggest pump off the Maduro stuff. Spoiler alert, there's a bunch of oil in South America in Venezuela, and ExxonMobil is super, super, super primed to get rich off of that. Flexes. Yeah, no, we haven't Matt the Vulture. No, we have not talked about Nexus calling bottom yet. It's guaranteed though, so send him a DM. Tell him fibs don't matter. It's all about the bell curve, and that bass guitars are cooler than drums. He'll really think you're cool. Anyway, upper range, lower range, Chevron, boom, breakout. Right? That's ExxonMobil. Chevron is on my mind. Why? It looks like a lagging pattern with a more clear accumulation range. So I'm, of course, on the freaking wrong layout, but there is a order block here. Let me switch these around and extend this bad boy, right? So you double click your thing, click your settings, and you can do extend right. That's how I normally do it. And then I want the background a little redder. A little more. So you have your one there. You have another one down here. Can you draw it? Give me a second. I just wanted to be really clear. There's basically a support order block here on the macro daily for Chevron. Remember, oil's been way down lately. Really far down. Like, oil almost got to $50 a barrel, which basically starts killing the North American oil industry. I guess the worldwide oil industry. I mean, like, Shell's... Spoiler alert, Shell's Dutch. And $50 a barrel, they can't operate in the Gulf. But, needless to say... Things are changing. The United States has taken the approach that they're going to start squeezing Russia's economy. I think Russia's the third or fourth biggest oil exporting country in the world. That's where their money's coming from, right? A lot of the other stuff's been stopped because of the war, but the oil's been still spreading around the world, and ghost tankers, you name it. And now it seems that the administration is trying to squeeze that and take over oil dominance and try to put some leverage on Putin, which has been... all efforts have failed to this point is kind of the only way I could say it. Putin appears to be willing to come and talk, but not commit to anything. So I think they're trying to finally push him. To him, it's an existential threat of Russia, so he's really not willing to move. But I digress because we've been permabanned before for talking war. But in general, You're starting to see the energy sector wake up. Go watch some of the DOP stuff. He's going crazy about it as well. But you know me, I'm subsea engineer. I focus a lot on the liquid petroleum side of the industry just because I'm so close with it every day. Not necessarily like uranium and stuff like that or power grid stuff, but this stuff I'm real sensitive to. I know when my clients are struggling. I know when my clients are kind of doing good. You know, BP, Shell, Exxon, Chevron, Talos, LLOG, Petrobras, Anadarko, Oxy, you name a bunch of the dudes. They're all around. They're struggling. Some of them are struggling. Some are doing really good. Chevron's the one that's on my mind, and I think this is a lagging play. The thing is, though, we're approaching an order block. I want to see us get through that order block before we do anything. Now, we're touching it right now, but you guys know with King Top order blocks, we always want to see go. We're not necessarily always going to get that, so we have to be chill and go from there. Now, mind you, markets are down. Maybe you need to readjust your Ferrari expectations. And the older I get, when I was younger, I used to think, oh man, who wants to have a previous generation car? Because when they came out with the new Chevy, I was like, who wants these old K1500s anymore? And I'm like, man, gotta have the new stuff. This old stuff's ugly. Now, dudes, the older I get, I don't know if I'm more cynical, but there's like generations of vehicles that I just prefer. I prefer the engine, the drivetrain, and kind of the older looks. I love the look of these. And this guy posted, it goes, a lot of people probably want a brand new vehicle after argument school. Nope, not me. Give me a low mileage 98 3-door. Me personally, give me a Gen 2 Tundra Rock Warrior with under 100,000 and I am content. So content. I can't wait till I have to try to find my next one in a few years because the current one I'm at right now took me like 3 or 4 months to find. And I got lucky finding it. But with that being said, we're going to go hang out with the rest of the Rainbow Trend dudes in the Discord. At the top of the website, there's always this banner. It's in pink. Join our Discord community. That's the link to the Discord. We're going to go talk about the handbow charts. We're going to complain about Nexus not calling the bottom more loudly. And then we're just going to hang out the rest of the night. So I'll see you guys later. Click like, comment, drop a name, something, whatever in the chat. Blow the stats up. Appreciate you guys. And I will be out of town next week on vacation. So I apologize. At least that's what I'm planning now. Maybe budgets aren't going to allow it. And we're going to do a staycation and just grow a mustache. But we'll see. But anyway, I'll see you guys.